It was our job to help law enforcement.
Off is a fucking terrorist.
Oh my God!
Prof is a fucking terrorist. A fucking... Prof is a fucking terrorist. A fucking pedophile, sympathizing fucking terrorist.
Bruh.
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
It was our job to help law enforcement. It was our job to help law enforcement.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
Bruh.
All right. Let's do a sound check. I'm not sure if you're hearing me. Let's try it out. All right, that sounds fine, man. Everyone's here. I'm here. The sound is working, the music's working, and everything's working. So welcome on into your Thursday night, to our Thursday night. It's good to see everybody. And I mean, first of all, I saw a few people came subscribe today, and so thank you for that. And let's see who we got in here. Let's see, we got Icy Cat, speaking of the devil. Yeah, Icy Cat, Rebecca Ann, Snoop Sleuth, Deeper 73, S. Maltas, 88, Sweet Dude Shibby, Hebby Heather Brown. We got Snoop Sleuth Deb. Yeah, guys. Amy G. Hey, Amy G. There she is. What's up, Amy G? Guys, welcome to Twitch. Gretchen. Hey, Gretchen. Who else is in here? Angel Eyes, welcome. All right, so everybody, the whole deal is welcome in. Hey, Christina, what's up, girl? Christina's here. Rebecca Ann, what up, Rebecca? All right, sounds good. That's what she said. All right, Rebecca, Christina, Amy G, Sweet Dude Shibby, Dirty Diane. We can start now. Diana's here. All right, everybody, welcome in. Hey. Oof, well, how's everybody doing? I'm telling you, first announcement, these shows are going to be every Thursday night, sure. But you know, it's the prof. You can't count on me to be here at a specific time. But I would say approximately 9:30, 10 Eastern. Okay, that's the plan. So say about 9:30 or 10. And that's what we'll be sticking with. So I'm just lucky to be even making it here. I had a really busy day. I got some things done. And of course, I don't have anything loaded into background of StreamYard that I need. So we'll be winging it, doing this on the fly. So that's that. And I'm glad to see everybody. And look, we got, I don't know what's showing on Twitch at the moment, but what we should have is the link tree pinned at the top of the chat. Okay, so you should see the link tree. That's where, you know, you can send everybody if they have questions about how to email me, how to go to this, how to get to YouTube. Mods, if anybody asks anything, send them to the link tree that's pinned. And also, Good announcement. We're 54 followers, and my goal this first month was to get to 75. So we're just 20 away. Okay, we're about 21 away from the goal for the month. So hey, we still got half the month left. So I really want to get to that 75 followers. And we had our first paid subscriber join. So the first paid member has joined. So I want to welcome that individual. And my goal for the paid memberships are 10 this month. So hopefully we'll get 9 more by the end of the month. So anyhow, if you want to support the channel in the way of memberships, there's a membership subscription. Um, if you just want to follow and join the channel that way, please do that. I'd like to get to 75. And yeah. So man, I had a lot of really good conversations this week, but I'm really tired today, and it's been a hell of a day. But I'm glad to be here at this moment. And let's see, I got a few plans here. There's a couple things I want to do, and then we'll see what happens. But how's everybody feeling? Pretty good, pretty good. I see. Blah. There's some blahs. There's some pretty goods. There's some blahs. It's good to see y'all, though. Yeah, it's pretty much the weekend. Hey, tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow is Friday, so that's a whole other ball game. Tomorrow is our Friday night show over at YouTube. So if you're here, realize tomorrow we'll be back at YouTube with the Friday night show. So come join me tomorrow night. I do have a plan for tomorrow night. Exactly what I want to get into. So we'll be doing something tomorrow night. Tonight's pretty low key. Lita Joe, hey. Diana says it's my weekend because I don't allow myself to work Fridays. Well, that's what I do on Saturdays. I don't work Saturdays. Okay. All right, guys. I see you guys. Yeah, there's a little chat you can pull out if you want to pull out the chat. Okay. So what I got to say? There's some other things. Let's see. Sweet Dude Shibby says the Maple Leafs beat the New York Rangers 2-1 in overtime. Oh, Rebecca Ann became a member. Let me go see. Let's see if that shows me. What's up, Angel Eyes? Hey, Jake Brooks. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, yay. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, we're 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10 members. So we got 54 subs and 2 out of 10 memberships. So thank you guys very much for coming over here. I know it's like pulling teeth to get people to leave YouTube and come over to Twitch, but hey, new things are good, right? New things are good. A little change. Christina says, I'm good today, made progress on my video. I'm at a decent place where I can split it in so I can release it soon because it's gotten so long. Christina's working on a video. All right. Miss Pie Crust. Hey, what's up, Pie Crust? Meow. Wait, I'll give you a little, you need a party horn for that one, right? What's up? Is Dino here? Where's Dino? Do I see Dino yet? Wait a minute. What am I missing? I don't know what I'm missing. Gretchen. good to see everybody. Okay, so let's see. Be on the lookout for a missing Sam Squatch. Okay, Pie Crust, Rebecca Ann. All right, let's see. So, oh, you do a Wookiee call or do you not do a tree knock? What do you do to get him over here? Um, okay, so let's see. Update. I do have an update from Noe. Noe gave me a phone call today, and I got a pretty good update from Noe. So I'll try to get that together. See how quickly I can manifest that Noe's phone call for you guys. He wanted to give a weekly update. So let's see if I can handle this. All right, is this going to work? Oh yeah, it's there. So okay, so here's the deal. So you guys may be familiar with the fact that these insane, methed out, pedophile enabling. Uh, did I say methed out? Yeah, I did. Okay, the insane, alcoholic, unemployed, disability collecting, couch sitting, mom's house living, internet trolling, methed out. Did I say methed out? Yeah, I sure did. Okay, alcoholic, uh, domestic abusing, um, self-loathing, internet trolls that we all affectionately call the troll farm, right? They've been sending people in the community, and by that I mean me and a few of my friends, these terrorizing mails or mailings to our homes in order to terrorize us through the U.S. Postal Service as the domestic terrorists that they are. Uh, they've been committing federal felonies by sending us terrorizing mail, snail mail, to our post office boxes and mailboxes. And wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? As if sending 100 to us already wasn't enough, they had to cross the line once again, and this time commit two felonies at once, both committing a federal felony of using the U.S. Postal Service to send terrorizing mailings as domestic terrorists. And secondly, they committed another felony by mailing illegal uh, contents into Noe's jail. So wouldn't you know it? It turns out the warden is not too happy with receiving troll farm mail. And so anyhow, Noe called me today to inform me of that. And he asked me to record the phone call. You know, after he told me what was going on, he said, "Would you please record and play it for the viewers?" So that's what we're about to do, so that Noe can tell you all exactly what's going on and what he received and what he's going to do about it. So anyhow, let's get that ball rolling here. I'll just listen along with you all, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Hey, Noe, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, bro?
Hey, thanks for calling. I know you wanted to do your weekly update over here.
Yeah, I want to do a weekly update, and it's just unfortunate that I've been doing these with Diane, but she doesn't have the time to do one this weekend. So I appreciate you giving me the platform. But what I really wanted to talk about is that I've received some mail via postal service here at the Wabash County Hyatt Regency Inn, and it came it came in here, and it's a little disturbing because now they're even sending these disturbing mail here at the Hyatt Regency, and it's just crazy how these trolls just won't stop.
Oh, yeah, I know we've all received so many. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's basically a note card, which I received many of them. My postmaster here in Wabash has a good number of them, and I stopped reporting them after a certain amount. But I think I've received over 100 in the last year, and it's basically a postcard that says "Happy Birthday." It's written in crayon, different colors, and uh, it came in. But what was really strange to me is that it has Peggy O on the sender's line. So I don't understand how she would be, trying to reach out to me here at the Hyatt Regency to wish me a happy birthday. But I guess I'm thinking someone's trying to pretend to be her. I don't know. Now, what I do know is that in 2023, I had about a 19 to 20 minute, excuse me, conversation with Jinx 13, a conversation that I recorded, and where Jinx had doxed several people, one of them being Karen White. She had also doxed Rescue All the Dogs, and Necessary Evil at that time. I didn't know who Necessary Evil was. Uh, and she also doxed Stephanie. It was after the Kagan Klein sentencing in Miami County in Peru. Um, so
Oh, is that who you got all
she
their
made,
names from?
yeah, from Jinx. I have that conversation recorded, and she pretty much, that's how I found out who Rescue All the Dogs was. That's how I got her name, Bossy's name, and Bojangles. Um, they all attended that hearing in Peru. Stephanie, Karen, and Courtney, and they were there under the banner of representing victims' families. But the reality was that they were there for Tony Klein. They all had connections to Tony Klein. But during that conversation back in 23, Jinx allowed me these names, and that's how I knew who they were, including Charles Godwin. So this is a never-ending thing. Now I'm getting these threatening, or to me, I can consider them threatening. They are, just, they don't make any sense to me. They've sent pictures of like my family, cryptic messages. They will send stickers, um, Proform stickers. I have received numerous amount of they even send me pictures of my own art that's hung inside my apartment. You know, just to show me that or let me know that they've sent drones to my apartment to take pictures.
Yeah, and I'm pausing it just to interject here. All of you guys might remember my storytelling in how the one time I visited Delphi, I was also stalked by a drone. I was hacked a couple days before, and while I was in Indianapolis, and then when I drove over to Delphi, uh, I spent some time there, and the next thing you know, I get to Highbridge on the way as I was leaving. Highbridge was my last stop, and a drone comes flying in, and it starts circling over me and my son's head, filming us. So it seems that both Noe, myself, and another individual that I know have all been stalked by this drone from the troll farm. But anyway, I'll let that keep going. We'll talk about that later.
Pictures, and it's a very uncomfortable thing for me. But that's why I react the way I do, and sometimes when I have reacted, it is a very uncomfortable situation for me. And this is all simply because I informed law enforcement upon a pedophile. It doesn't make sense to me, Ralph. So
Right.
I'm
I
trying to
know.
find a way to figure out why does it bother them so much. When I talk about the biker aspect of the crime, the
The
that
Dropbox. Hmm.
that the Dropbox, and Stephanie, Courtney, um, Kimberly Chaston, Karen, they all just come after me, and somewhere along there, the lines there, I've been it's been hinted to me that Bossy is behind the mailing of this scripted messages and stickers, etc. I've been hinted that she's behind, that she has someone who mails um, these letters out of Indianapolis, so it looks like they're coming out of Indianapolis and not Converse, Indiana.
Well, we would like to thank all of these people for sending these threatening mails because they therefore have enabled us to open a federal investigation into terrorism through the mail service. That's pretty good.
Absolutely, my mail my postal postmaster of my hometown has filed
Me
for
too.
a federal investigation. At some point, I think I've given him about 30 letters, but I have over 100, and I know that when I get back home, I'll have another. I'm already aware that there's been some mail sent to my apartment as well as here, right? So yeah, my postmaster has filed with the United States Postal Investigation Unit. So certainly, it's gonna get to the point where like they're just gonna have no choice but to
Well,
open
do you
or pursue a federal investigation.
uh, do you think that the Wabash Valley Hyatt Regency is going to be opening an investigation into this recent piece that you received?
Well, um, they go through everything. So when I receive the mail here, it's open. It's open, and they hand it to me because they just have to. They have a little mail, little system here. The staff themselves, they have to monitor. So I at this moment, I'm not 100% sure. I have not made any complaints to the people here, but me just receiving it here, it makes me feel uncomfortable knowing that you know that they go to any means just to try to send some kind of a message of intimidation, perhaps, which it just pisses me off. I'm not
On be
intimidated.
I
I
would
mean, I'm
probably on
worse.
behalf of the biker gangs, but I would suggest you send a grievance to the warden or a letter to ask him to look into it because this is a pattern that's going back several years. And
This call will be terminated in 2 minutes.
We got a
oh,
2-minute warning.
2 minutes. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, I'll let you
Keep
have it.
going.
I'll stop talking. Anything else you want to say before you get out of here to
I had
everybody?
I had not thought of that. That I hadn't thought of it. I just got the letter. I put it with the rest of my mail and didn't think about making the authorities here aware.
Officer
But that is
Monroe.
a good idea. Just like to me, when I used to talk a lot to Officer Monroe with the Wabash Police Department, the biggest thing that he ever advised me was to leave a paper trail, because that leaves them somewhere to begin investigating in the event that something serious happened. So yeah, but yeah, man.
This call will be terminated in 1 minute.
I don't necessarily get like intimidated where like I'm gonna stay home, and I grew up in a very rough environment. I've been through a lot worse than this. But however, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and it, more than anything, it frustrates me, and I lose focus about the things that I should be doing sometimes due to this behavior. But anyway, Prof, I hope you have a good show. I hope you have a good time, and say hi to your audience. And I want to thank all your people and friends who have supported me.
All right. Yeah. And special shout out Mark Ellis for sending the money for Noah. And yeah, man.
All right, and that's it. That's it. That was Noe's phone call, and just a little earlier before we got on, and so I was glad he called in before I started the show. That was great. And can you believe? Can you believe these idiots?
Bruh.
They are digging their own graves here. They literally are. Like, I don't know why they think or take lightly the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. They don't F around. Okay, they don't. They really don't F around. It's going to be a FAFO situation fairly soon. Because I'd like to remind you that there are more than 100 mailings, and there are a good half of those that cross over state lines, and I mean multiple state lines. There's some that are going to Oregon, some that are going to Illinois, some that are going to Florida, some that are going to Colorado, and some internally in Indiana. And they are all coming out of Indianapolis Postal Center. So, yeah, that's the update. But I'm glad that Noe called in and he wanted me to play that for all of you. So let's see. So that's that. And hello to whoever's come in the chat. I'm apologizing. I mean, half the time I don't know anybody in here because your usernames are different. Why don't everybody make the usernames that are same as YouTube? That'd be fun. Yeah, I guess it was cute to send Noe a threatening message into his facility because now not only do you have the Postal Service to worry about, but you also have the investigation that's going to happen within Wabash Correctional Facility. So that'll be pretty interesting to see what comes with that. Let's see. The Postmaster General and the Inspector General are federal, and they will set up an investigation at the originating post office and verify who drops mail off to that location. Yeah, they have ways. You know, we are living in 2025. They have ways. So anyway, that's Noe's update. And I tell you what, there's never a dull moment. There's never a boring day in Delphi. There really isn't. I mean, it's always something. And let's see. What else is making rounds? Let's see. Yeah, Michael Osbrook is still attempting to sabotage the appellate team and pull the rug out from under them with this ridiculous Davis-Hatton procedure. He's running all over Reddit, blabbing about it. And that's pretty interesting, too, considering that I'm pretty sure Mr. Rick and Cat and Mrs. Kathy Allen are do not approve that. So that's a whole thing. What else is spicy out here? All the cranks are distracting everybody with a Jerry Holman rant, which really has nothing to do with anything. It's neither here nor there. However, I have a rant for you tomorrow that you will enjoy over on YouTube. We're going to actually touch on something relevant, highly pertinent, and not just complain about the mean cops in Indiana. So that'll be interesting. And on a whole other note of Delphi drama and distractions, did any of you catch that 9-hour live stream last night? Woo! I got to say, when these people show you who they are, believe them. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not even going to comment on that, but liars gonna lie, stalkers gonna stalk, haters gonna hate, and people sending out bad karma are going to get it served. It's going to bounce back 180 degrees, smack them in the face 10 times over. So that's pretty interesting. That's all happening. Let's see, what else did I see? Oh, there were a couple of Asian prostitutes busted in Carmel, Indiana, oddly enough, in Kokomo, Indiana, oddly enough, and I want to say in Indy. I might be wrong on that, but I just caught the story earlier today that they busted a handful of prostitutes. They're calling a prostitution ring. But yeah, oddly enough, Kokomo, Carmel, and Indy. It's just the home base for all of our trolls and bikers who harass the entire community. So that's pretty interesting too. It's just a never a dull moment. There's also an interesting legal case underway that I've been following, but I have decided not to report to you all until it's completed. Because I'm not going to insert myself in the legal process. I'm not the mean girls and the trolls, so I'm not the uniparty. So I'm not going to literally insert myself into the case, but there's an interesting case happening. And I can't wait to report on it for you all. Probably won't be to the end of the year or early next year. But boy, are you going to love it. When I say Delphi is just nonstop and it's extremely interesting and you never know what you're going to get, it's really good. So we'll be reporting on that when the time comes. But yeah, I did. I did actually. Yeah, they busted a prostitution ring of Asian massage parlors and call girls who, like I say, they are operating in a nexus localities of Kokomo, Carmel, and Indy, which just so happens to be the center points for our stalkers and harassers. It was pretty interesting. Of course, I'm leaving out Lafayette and Bloomington, which are also cesspools of corruption and interference in this case, but we'll talk about those individuals later too. And I don't know if you guys saw Kash Patel speak yesterday, but apparently what they're doing, okay, this is pretty interesting, because I did watch the story and I didn't see anyone report on it with a real penetrating type of discernment. But basically what he revealed yesterday is that the FBI and some, in cooperation with some other federal agencies, are going secretly into all the cities and performing sweeps and stings and arresting people without announcing it until after it's completed. So what they announced yesterday was that they had been in Chicago the entire summer, and they announced the thousands of actions, and it's just incredible. So hopefully, Mr. Cash Patel and his three-letter agency cronies are deep up in Indianapolis. Hopefully, they're deep in Los Angeles. Hopefully, they're deep in New York City and other places, because it seems like they're probably everywhere doing the same thing. Um, that was a pretty interesting announcement yesterday, but it was odd. Like I said, none of the mainstream news actually called that out. They just said, "Oh, well, Patel made an announcement." No, the announcement was that he's been all summer in Chicago, and they've made thousands of arrests and confiscations and da 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 da. So that's going to be interesting. Okay, that's FBI, like I said. Um, so I'm looking for Indianapolis. Come on, baby, put them in Indianapolis. Um, I think they called it Summer Heat, Operation Summer Heat. So who knows what they'll call these others in these other cities? Okay. Um, what else is popping off here? Let's see. Uh, I think there's some. I think there's some trouble in paradise with a lot of the bad actors on social media. Been getting some little murmurings coming my way. That's been pretty interesting too. That there seems to be a little trouble in paradise. There's a little friction among a bunch of people who we've been fighting for quite a long time. So I'm happy to sit back, eat the popcorn, and watch them all go at each other. So that'll be interesting to see what comes out in the wash with that. Let's see what else is going on. Uh, we've got some conversations underway behind the scenes. Really good conversations with multiple individuals, uh, covering a bunch of different angles. So let's see a couple announcements. Let's see in regards to that. Uh, I was blessed to have a couple locals reach out to me that are new whistleblowers in the past month. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Personally, have had a couple Delphi whistleblowers reach out. We're sharing info. Um, you guys all know Miss Christine and Mrs. Or Miss Erica Morris. So Christine and Erica have had a couple whistleblowers reach out to them who are not the whistleblowers who've reached out to me, and I've also had some really important people who are not local whistleblowers, but people who are involved in this case in various capacities have reached out. And so that's an ongoing conversation. And gosh, I got to tell you, I hate to. I know often I'm pessimistic in that I'm been regularly fighting so many people who just refuse to tell the damn truth and stop lying and distracting in the Delphi case. But that being said, there really is a lot of reason for optimism, because I think what's happening is all of this angst is turned up the temperature, and things are reaching a boiling point, and people are starting to have enough. And in their desperation, they're starting to reach out to the people who they have some sort of trust in. And luckily, I'm one of them who because I've been pretty honest with you all, and and authentic, I guess, in what all I've been going through in these past 3 years. I think that there are people who are building confidence or trust in me, and they're deciding to reach out to me, and so things are just really good. Okay, things are really good. And I hate to do these teasers because I mean, fuck, Rick Snay does it a lot, and other people do it. That we don't want to be teasing. Okay, so it's not really a teaser, but it's more so when the time is right, those things will be brought forth here on the channel because you guys are gonna be the first to know when it hits the surface. Okay, promise you, because you'll be watching my shows, and when the time is right, boom, I'll drop it in your laps, and things are really good. And hey, I'm not saying that any of this is going to have an effect on the FBI or the Indiana law enforcement to cause them to do anything to right this wrong or to right this ship, because who knows? I have zero faith in law enforcement handling this. But I think that when all of this comes to the surface, it will apply a certain amount of pressure to law enforcement to compel them to act if they have not already acted. But I got to tell you, you know what this all leads me back to? And I kind of referenced it in the phone call with Noe. The drop box, so to speak. Dropbox. What I mean by that is the child trafficking, drug trafficking, pedophile, murderous network that we loosely refer to as the tentacles. So I think we got the tentacles, and it seems like no one wants us discussing the tentacles. And I find it odd that people just don't talk about Kagan Klein, don't talk about the burner phones, the child pornography, abducting of Abby and Libby, catfishing of Abby and Libby, Anthony Shots, all of those things that are so extremely important. Why does no one talk about that? They just want to bitch about Jerry Holman. They want to bitch about Nicholas McClellan, or they want to bitch about Richard Allen, or they want to bitch about Andy Bowen. They want to talk about everything else that you can bitch and whine about, but they don't want to talk about what's going on with these catfishers, with these predators on the internet, with this Dropbox, with this Anthony Shots account. We ain't going to let it die. Okay. We will not let it die, because I mean, now that I look back in retrospect, it's absolutely clear to me that they want you to let it die. Okay. The whole point of all of this was distraction. It was the classic art of magic. Remember? Look over here, be distracted while I hide the thing behind my back. It's magic. But this is magic with a K, right? It's magic with a K. And they don't want us looking at what, for a brief moment in time, everyone was looking at with this case, which was Kagan Klein, the Anthony Shots account, the pedophilia, the catfishing, and all that stuff, the dark web, the snuff films. That's what they don't want us talking about. And God damn it, it's just really hitting me over the head really clearly. And hello. Hello.
Oh my God!
Hello. Oh.
Bruh.
That's what we need to be looking at. Don't get lost in the Delphi case with Richard Allen and the trial and all this bullshit, Jerry Holman and all the obvious stuff. The appellate attorneys are here to handle that. That's a process. Don't be distracted by that. I think each and every one of you should be constantly digging into the Anthony Shots angle, the Dropbox angle, the Klein angle, the sex clubs angle, the pedophile networks, the meth trafficking and the biker club angle, the Kokomo angle, the catfishing angle, the snuff film angle, everything that people were talking about before Rick Allen came into the picture. See, that's the distraction. That's what we need to be refocusing on. And I implore all of you, I challenge all of you, let's begin to refocus our attention on what matters here. And what matters is that Abby and Libby were lured out there by the Anthony Shots account and associated individuals to be victimized. And all of that stemmed from the pedophile network and the child trafficking and drug trafficking network in that locality. And it's really as simple as that. But there's been so much disinformation intentionally inserted into that. Remember, that's the definition of disinformation. I'm not talking about misinformation. I'm talking about disinformation. Information that has been intentionally planted into this case to distract everyone because we got too close. We got too close when it came to Kagan Klein, when it came to that transcript, when it came to the Jalen Rain, Curtis Fouts, the sex clubs, the Dropbox, the snuff films, the Garrett Kurtz, and all of this. We got too close. So a distraction had to be produced. So they overwhelmed the community with disinformation and misinformation. Then they arrested Richard Allen. And everyone's looking over here, instead of looking at the obvious, which is that this ain't about Richard Allen. So, sorry, I went on a little rant there. But yeah, and you know what? It's my belief that when you see all these death threats, like basically we're dealing with the biker gangs who are the arm of these people. They're the foot soldiers. Okay, so what's happening is all the people coming to troll the case are connected to the biker gangs, the Hells Angels, affiliated gangs, who are trying to cover this up. And so that's your terrorist there. All right. You guys are still figuring out Twitch? Yeah, I have no idea, Shibby. I don't know what the points are. I don't know anything. I know this. We got our, in this next couple days, I'd like you all to assist me in promoting the Cash App. Okay, so I did put up a goal, but I don't even know how to find it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how to find it. So I put up a goal. You know what I've noticed is that no one really visits the GoFundMe because it's far off. You know, the GoFundMe is far away, right? You have to go to a whole separate website and find it and do that. And very few people go over there to the GoFundMe. But a lot of people send super chats or cash apps to support the channel. And so I'm trying to run a little campaign the next few days for Cash App with a goal of $100. Okay, I'm trying to raise $100 in the next few days for the Cash App. Oddly enough, I did get some donations for Noe, but not really any to my GoFundMe, not any to my Cash App for like a month, basically. But at this point, I want to try to do a little push for a Cash App fundraiser for the channel because there's some things I need to do and some fees I need to pay. So I need $100 to the Cash App. So in the next 48 hours, you guys please try to help share the Cash App. You see it scrolling here, Cash App Coffee for Prof. And I did put a goal on the channel. I don't know where it is, but I made $100 goal to try to get $100 to pay the fees I have to pay that are associated with the channel. I was forced to do something unexpectedly for the channel, and I don't really want to describe it because the trolls like taking things and running with it. So I have to keep this kind of to myself at the moment. But it cost me quite a bit, and so I want to do a little fundraiser to kind of help with that. Anyway, that's the Cash App, okay? So please, if you're going to support the channel whatsoever the next few days, send a Cash App to the Coffee for Prof Cash App account, or share the Cash App with friends and say, if you want to support Prof, send them a Cash App. So please don't send a super chat. Don't send a super thanks. Don't send a GoFundMe. Don't send to buy me a coffee. Go over to Cash App and send a Cash App if you don't mind. Okay, so thank you very much for putting up with that. Now, next thing. All right, I wanted to get back into this. Yeah, maybe I should do it like this. Let's see. Now, you guys might remember that yesterday, no, it was Tuesday, I read this for you guys. But, I kind of blazed through it because I was really focused on the last two paragraphs, which I'm still focused on. But tonight, I want to read it over again because there's some things in here that I want to comment on a little more clearly, okay? This is the state's response to the defendant's motion for broadcasting order. Remember, this is all about cameras in the courtroom. Remember that all we wanted was that this trial be broadcast, right? But no. Had to keep it a secret. So I want to go through this document again to comment on every point he's bringing up because this is the ultimate insult. Let me say this. All of you who believe in the Constitution, you believe in America, you believe in Western civilization, you believe in freedom, responsibility, justice, and transparency. This should be one of the most important things that happened in this trial to you. Because I really want you to think about it. You know how oftentimes we have blinders on where our vision is limited. You get somewhat of a tunnel vision because you are entrained by circumstances. So whatever has happened, you've come to accept it as the parameters in which you're understanding things. Or should I say, the context in which we accept the givens. And I think we need to understand that this right here is absolutely unacceptable. Okay? Absolutely unacceptable. This was the way that this entire scheme was pulled off. Okay? This facilitated the railroading and wrongful conviction of Richard Allen. This facilitated the flagrant abuse of the system, the blatant exercising of entrenched and deep corruption. This is what enabled it. This was the enabling factor of keeping the world's eyes off of what was going to happen in this courtroom. And it's unacceptable. So this starts with the prosecutor asking. Now let's be honest here. The prosecutor ain't asked shit. Okay, they already knew what was going to happen. But you have to always look at these documents as a necessity of court record, because there's no way they could have done it without this. So when you're listening to this, think about it this way. This is not asking Gull for anything. Gull and McClellan had already decided there were going to be no cameras. This is establishing in the court record an excuse, or should I say, multiple excuses for the paper trail, which we call the court record. So with that in mind, and by that I mean with the fact that Gull and McClellan together colluded, probably with Holman too, and decided that there was absolutely going to be no way they're going to let cameras in this courtroom. This was all going to be done under the cover of darkness. Remember, everything done in darkness will come to light. Right? Do any of you believe that? That which is done in darkness will come to light? This blanket cast over this case was thrown over the case to enable this egregious travesty to unfold in the courtroom, hidden from the eyes of the public, so that it could be relayed through colored lenses of the prosecutor and the media shills who were witness to this, so that they could spin it. Okay. In other words, what I'm telling you, this was done in darkness so that what occurred could be spun and reported to the world with spin rather than transparency and truth. Okay? So what you're about to hear is what Gull and McClellan decided to establish in the record as the justification for doing this all in darkness. Get it? So the excuses are that the state would ask the court to consider that previously this court has expressed a concern about extrajudicial grandstanding, which led to the issuance of the gag order by the court. So you see, like I said, he's not asking for anything. He's basically displaying the excuses that the state is giving. So, excuse number one, the court is concerned about extrajudicial grandstanding. Excuse number two, the defense has continued this extrajudicial grandstanding throughout their motions, including, drumroll, the Frank's memorandum filed September 18th. Hello. Frank's memorandum. Frank's memorandum triggered this. Remember, let me show you the date of this again for those of you who don't remember. September 25th. September 18th, remember, was the 136 pages. So this was filed in direct response to the Frank's memorandum. So I need you all to really put a pin in that in your memory banks. This is in direct response to the filing of the Frank's memorandum, or the motion for Frank's hearing with the Frank's memorandum. Now remember, on September 18th, the Frank's memo was filed, and immediately after, the shitstorm began. Remember, that's when the crime scene photos leaks happened. That's when a number of YouTube channels received 30 fucking copyright strikes to try to take these channels down. So a week after this Frank's memo dropped, boom, this blanket is cast over this case. He continues that the broadcasting of the hearings and the trial proceedings create concerns because attorneys are immune from libel proceedings for statements made in court. Okay? It then continues that the defense uses inflammatory language and lies. And he uses the word statements that are simply not true. That's a nice way of saying lies. So he's saying the defense uses inflammatory language and lies. And there's no reason to think they won't continue using this inflammatory language and lying, designed to be sound bites for broadcast on the national stage. And he cites as an example the true statement that the defense claimed the conditions under which Mr. Allen has been forced to endure are akin to that of a prisoner of war, which is inaccurate. Characterization of Mr. Allen's condition. But he's calling that a lie and inflammatory. He then again, in point number 7 here, he reiterates that the defense has filed a 136-page Frank's memorandum, and then he drops the number 13. Remember, we're dealing with Freemasons and occultists. He says, only 13 pages refer to any allegations relevant to the question of a Frank's. The remaining 90% of the memo outlines its fanciful defense for social media to devour. So he's saying 90% of the Frank's memo are lies intended for social media. Sounds like they're very concerned about that Frank's memo, aren't they? He then continues, the defense has moved for a change of venue, citing prejudicial publicity, which is true because we know that there was a PR effort that was put underway by the state. So it was true that there was prejudicial publicity intended to influence the potential future jurors. And he claims that if the court would allow broadcasting of the pretrial hearings, that the defense's publicity or PR would be without boundaries and given worldwide publicity on the internet. He says the state, meaning himself and the court, believes the duty of managing broadcast media would be distracting, considering the number of media outlets requesting to access the broadcast. Now, how would the media distract the court by tying in to a public courtroom feed? He also continues that the judge is unfamiliar with the courtroom. What in the fucking world? And he says the length and complexity of the case and the duty to protect quote unquote jurors' identities and sensitive content that will be presented. Now, let me ask you all out there. You all are smart. Many of you follow other true crime cases and other very high profile cases on the national stage. Is it that much of a problem with crime scene photos and jurors that no court in the United States ever broadcast high profile cases? I mean, what about the OJ case? What about the Kohlberger case? He continues, the state believes this will have a negative impact on the participants, impairing the dignity of trial. Because we all know transparency is not dignity, right? I mean, we could tell that from the Mean Girls, right? They have zero transparency because they have zero dignity. He furthermore continues, the defense has expressed its intent to attack not only the evidence, but the credibility of those who investigated the case. Yes, because the cops were all incompetent and corrupt state actors. And he's afraid the defense would grandstand on camera about quote unquote imagined bad motives of the state actors. And again, paragraph 11, he reiterates and brings up again the Frank's memo. He says, this is put on display in the defense's memorandum in support of the accused motion for Frank's hearing, where the defense spends much of its time disparaging not the evidence, but the state, the investigators, and the state actors. This does nothing to increase public confidence in the system. Oh, you mean transparency does nothing to increase public confidence in the system? I respectfully must disagree with that. He goes on again with more gaslighting. Given the layout of the courtroom, The state has concerns that with cameras in the courtroom, cameras may broadcast the jurors, witnesses who are minors, attorney-client communications, and materials on counsel's tables, as if no other court in any other case ever has broadcast a trial without jeopardizing the jurors' privacy, minor witness privacy, or client communications, attorney-client privilege communications and materials on the counsel tables. He continues, the state believes the defendant's statement that jurisprudence in the state of Indiana will be scrutinized in a manner that is unusual and rare in Indiana courts because of the circumstances surrounding this case is unprecedented. What he means there is that there will be too much scrutiny on the state's case if we allow cameras in the courtroom. Can you believe that? Think about it, y'all. Think very hard about it. He is concerned, and by he, I mean the state, Gull, all the cops, they are concerned that the jurisprudence of the state will be overly scrutinized due to the cameras. As if the public doesn't have the right to scrutinize judicial proceedings. He then goes on about the Community Relations Committee of the Judicial Conference of Indiana, talking about building trust, public trust and confidence, including expanding transparency, increasing social media presence, publishing summaries to a general audience. Number 15, that cameras have never, hello, this is another one. I'm sorry to be annoying, but sometimes I have to annoy you into listening. Cameras have never been allowed in Carroll County Circuit Court during any proceeding. Ever. Ever. The state has concerns about a case of this magnitude being the pilot case in which cameras are allowed to record proceedings. So in other words, even though this is one of the most high-profile cases in the world, the public should not see it. He claims that the size of the courtroom lends itself to many onlookers, meaning there's plenty of room for legacy press. That means controlled media outlets. There's plenty of room for the legacy press to attend and report activities. And the press has widely, accurately, and without incident covered pretrial proceedings thus far. There's no reason to believe media could not continue to effectively report to the public pretrial proceedings and trial, which means we're only going to allow the fake media, the controlled media shills to report on this case. Number 17, cameras in the courtroom makes it difficult to have a separation of witness for any testimony that witnesses plan to give. The state's concerned that witnesses may inadvertently violate any separation of witness order due to potential pervasiveness of media related to the case, creating issues with admissibility or reliability of evidence. But, you know, coincidentally enough, in that stipulation between the defense and the state, they certainly did allow the entire family who were half of the fucking witnesses in the case, to violate the separation of witness order, which deems this paragraph 17 null and void. He continues the gaslighting with that the broadcasting of evidence in the public for potential members of the public to see gruesome images of the deaths of two little girls while also seeing the toll it takes on the family play out in court. But what he neglects to admit is that they were part and parcel of leaking the crime scene photos for the public. That's right. I said it. Remember, I brought up Mitch Westerman because they tried to put this all on Mitch Westerman's back. Hello, Mitch Westerman was a state actor. Mitch Westerman was a state actor. And if you don't believe that, think of this. Mitch Westerman was given lightweight charges for this. As a cover, and then those charges were later dropped and his record expunged. Now it continues. And this is the one that's really rich. Allowing cameras in such a highly publicized and sensationalized case runs the risk of creating a circus atmosphere, both in person and online. Excuse me, you know where the circus was? And I said this last time. The circus was inside and outside of that courtroom. Remember Drunk Marv? Remember Anthony Greeno? Remember Frank Shyster? Do you remember Noe and Snay? Do you remember the screaming and yelling of this Kimberly Stavrakis Withers? Do you remember all the maniacs creating a circus atmosphere outside of that court for nearly a month? But oh yeah. Allowing cameras to broadcast this trial in the interest of transparency because it's the most high-profile case in the nation. Oh, sure, that would create a circus atmosphere. It gets even better, though. Allegations that the fact that the families have voluntarily taken to social media and other media outlets somehow abrogates their right to privacy is unfair. I said last time, the family made it a habit for 8 years to go to every fucking platform they could. All over Facebook, all over Reddit, all over Twitter, all over Dr. Phil, all over Crime Con, and documentaries, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The family was all over the internet from day one. To the extent that they're no longer entitled to privacy. The family have ensured that they are now considered technically limited purpose public figures. The family made themselves into celebrities, for lack of a better term. But in the interest of hiding all of this travesty from the public, we're going to cite the unfairness to violate the privacy of the family who've paraded all over social media for 8 years. Remember, they made sure to talk shit after sentencing. They still haven't shut up. Kelsey still chose to run her mouth on social media after trial. And then these last two, these are the home runs. Okay, these are the home runs. Yeah. Oh yeah. Did I not mention the Abbey Libby Memorial Park? Have I failed to mention the thousands of members in bike rides and fundraisers for each of these 8 years in which they paraded around on extremely expensive bikes with thousands of bikers following behind while they raised funds over and over and over and over again, publicizing the fuck out of themselves? Okay, number 21 and 22, like I said, the heavy hitters. The state does not agree with the defendant's theory that having cameras in the courtroom will reduce unpredictable behavior from witnesses and other participants. The state believes that having cameras in the courtroom will give participants in the courtroom a nationwide platform to further their own agendas, to build their brands, PR terms, to promote whatever platform they want. PR term, and generally showboat instead of focusing on presenting the evidence in a professional, concise manner. And then, as I said the other night, and I really want you to put your thinking caps on about this last one, because this last one knocks it out of the park. That the pilot program for cameras in the courtroom in Indiana were conducted prior to the popularity of artificial intelligence, AI software, that allows for the creation of deep fakes. Oh my God. Deep fakes, AI, deep fakes, AI. Can you say bridge guy video? So we're concerned with AI, artificial intelligence software creating deep fakes? Oh. You see, this is all confession by projection. Remember that for years, experts have come out and revealed to us that the Abbey on the Bridge photo was photoshopped, that the bridge guy video was photoshopped, that all of this digital evidence was a farce. It was real life role playing. I call it LARPing. This entire thing was LARPing. I believe all the witnesses carrying around their devices. I believe Betsy Blair's Fitbit. I believe all of this was a whole live action role play scenario. So it's very interesting that they would unintentionally reveal that they're so concerned with AI, artificial intelligence created deepfakes, isn't it? And anyway, that's your list of excuses for conducting this trial under the cover of darkness. You know, because it's the most high profile case you can imagine. So therefore it warrants conducting a trial in complete darkness and solely relying on the mainstream media to come out and give it to you the way the state wants it spun. But you know, I really do hope that these people can't sleep at night. I hope they can't sleep at night because they know what they've done. Anyhow, let me look for something. Let's see, I'm looking. Just a moment. Let's see. Got to do a little looking here. All right, so that covered that as much as I wanted to. I said, guess is a way to say it. Um, give me a moment, please. All right. Well, I'll see if our guest is able to come and click on, and if not, we'll get out of here shortly. But I'm literally astounded. I really am astounded. It's really hard to digest, you know, because I think of court TV. I think of all the cases we've watched in the past 30 years. Think about that. I mentioned the OJ case. The OJ case was it was my very first experience watching the judicial system at work. I don't know about you all. It was highly informative. Like for me as a young man, watching that OJ case or trial, it was extremely informative. It taught me things that book learning could not do. It showed me how prosecutors move forward. It showed me how defense attorneys work as a team. It showed me the theatrics of it all. And I also think it showed me what good attorneys could do who were good at their job. I also learned to respect good judges and jurisprudence and criticize or critique what I felt were bad judges. And it's just unbelievable if you think about how long ago that was. Okay, you think about how long ago that was, and think about this. Think about how high profile that was. I mean, you want to talk about high profile and public scrutiny. Well, that's my question. If they could do that back then with OJ's trial with no problems, and more recently with both of Karen Reed's trials with no problems. I mean, I got fucking sick of staring at the fan. Right? And then Kohlberger's trial, Johnny Depp's trial. I mean, you're talking about the most high profile cases. This one would not surpass those. It would at a minimum, or at most, I would say, it would at most be equivalent, maybe even a little less so, because it was not quite, you weren't really dealing with celebrities on the level that those other cases were. So how can we try to use that? How can we try to use these things as excuses for putting a blanket over this process? It just seems ludicrous, literally. And I think if anything, it's done more harm than good. It's done more harm than good, because although they could escape it in terms of being broadcast on television, they can't escape the criticism now that's due somewhat in part to the lack of transparency. Because now they've allowed to foment even more suspicion. They've exponentially increased the amount of suspicion and skepticism that the people will always have. Because now we're stuck with the contradictions. We're stuck with the bad reporting, the biased reporting. We're stuck with assumptions and prejudices, biases, suspicions. And this has even raised more questions. And so I think they've gone and shot themselves in the foot. Okay, so this was another instance of them shooting themselves in the foot by trying to hide and bury this. And so in some ways, there's some sort of divine justice in it all. They have now created exactly what they were trying to avoid, which is more suspicion and skepticism, less confidence. So congrats. Congrats. You've now got twice as many people concerned about this, and more will be coming, because trust me, this is going to keep going and keep going, and more people will keep coming in new with the same questions and the same suspicions and the same reticence or reluctance to believe your shit. And so congrats. Anyhow, oof, the good old back is not feeling very good tonight. I have to sit better. Anyway, that was my sermon. That was my spiel for the night. That's kind of what I wanted to cover. And wow, it's just unbelievable. This never gets any better. Remember, I used to repeat the phrase, it always gets worse. No matter where we go, it gets worse. Um, but anyway, let's see. See what I can do here. Let me take a little break while I get my guest together here. It appears that my guest is going to come and join us. So let me do an intermission and refill my water and get the guest in here. So if you don't mind, give me 2 minutes and we'll be right back. Hello, hello.
Am I coming through?
Oh, loud and clear. Hello, Jake. Welcome back.
Hey, good evening. Hey, everybody.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Welcome, Jake Brookson. I'm glad to have him. And thanks for coming again, Jake.
Absolutely. You brought up OJ. A couple of things stand out on that one. It was like the forefront of DNA on like a high profile case, right? You had Barry Scheck, great attorney, but he was really
Absolutely.
like he was the one who was not really putting up with the BS of with the blood. I mean, they had sort of like vials of blood that were kind of missing for a couple hours, and all of a sudden it's showing up in weird places, and he really took them to task. So that was Barry Scheck, and then you had F. Lee Bailey that absolutely cooked Mark Furman on the stand.
Monster.
I'm talking F. Lee Bailey was a monster. And then the best part of that trial was Johnny Cochran's close.
Johnny Cochran, when I said about theatrics or the theatrics of court, you talk about a legend.
Legend.
Absolute legend with a persona to match, like electrifying type of charismatic guy.
He was smooth. And so like the state gets to go first on the closing, and then the defense goes, and then they have a rebuttal. So like he has this, like maybe it's 45-minute close. And then he brings up a slide that says, and if Marsha can't answer these 15 questions, you have to vote not guilty, right? And he goes and says, ask her about this, ask her about that, and goes through one through, I don't know, there was at least a dozen of them. And she wasn't ready for any of these questions, right? I mean, he thought he didn't even bring them up. I mean, they had real lawyer power in that case. And I don't really know what to believe on that. I mean, he was found liable in the civil suit. So that's the standard of more likely than not. But
Mhm.
beyond a reasonable doubt, he was let off the hook, and it wasn't beyond a reasonable doubt. So
Yeah.
that case was fascinating, though. I mean, it captivated the nation because I mean, never have you had a NBA basketball final game, right? That came through. I mean, that was only cable and over the air at the time, but I mean, it was over the air, and they cut from the NBA Finals game, Houston Rockets playing, to OJ's white Ford Bronco getting chased down the freeway.
Yeah, like 30 miles an hour.
Al Cowling's driving. That was strange, man. I remember on the freeway, free OJ.
But that team there, I mean, the way I see it, like I referenced in my little monologue there, that you're talking about just legends. I mean, the powerful attorneys, literally. I think it was a good lesson for me to see how attorneys could actually do their jobs.
Yeah, they were masterful. And they had some other ones that were not. I mean, they had Kardashian. They had Alan Dershowitz, a legal scholar. Not so sure he's a great guy, but definitely a legal scholar. Think of how much it cost him per hour.
Oh, I can't even imagine the amount of money. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one for the ages. I can't think of any other like impacting. I mean, the ones that come to mind when I think of like high-powered muscle these days is probably Baez with the Casey Anthony, and also he got Aaron Hernandez off of one of the murder trials. And he's kind of famous for this one move at the end where he'll have sort of this hierarchy where it's beyond a reasonable doubt, and then it's more likely than not, and then likely, and then probably. But he has this whole, different steps. All right. And he's like, if any of these are true, then you have to say not guilty, but beyond a reasonable doubt. And it just echoes in this case when you had nothing for Richard Allen. I mean, in the Holman interview that they're all publicizing right now, was there any physical evidence? No weapon, no nothing, no DNA. Is there anything that put him there at the crime other than it solved a lot of the state's problems? That was his biggest problem.
Yeah, and I'm almost upset. It's like, could they not have produced some kind of graphic poster board or something with the standards all the way up to reasonable doubt and showed it and described and like drilled that in at the end?
No,
I mean, it's disappointing to say
they
the
went
least.
after the defense. What they did in this case is the python is a state. How many times you hear that?
That's
And
lame.
you only saw what the state wanted you to see, right? I mean, come on. So I don't believe that for a minute. And they spent so much money on this case, and they pulled out all the stops. Just in January, they had an article in the Lafayette Journal that said that it was $2.5 million just for like the stuff around the court proceedings, not the defense, but $2.5 million, and included like buying out a hotel for a while. I mean, a lot of security equipment to make sure that no devices came in. This is that whole veil of secrecy. Security personnel. All right, get this. And this is reporting from Ron Wilkins on January 13th, 2025. He says the largest expense category was security personnel that made $719,910.
What that tells me is that Delphi PD made out like bandits with double, triple overtime or something.
Absolutely. And, that's probably right on the last years of some of their pensions. You know how all this works.
Oh, it's all gone into IRAs. Yeah. Or second homes or whatever. Yeah.
They bought an X-ray machine for $14,637,
Ridiculous.
and then they have to install it. It was $24,000, and that was just for the first payment. They put up a fence with black shrouds, so that the jurors who have never came out, we have known nothing about. We don't know how they were recruited, and for the judge to come and go. But I mean, literally half of the building has this huge tarp on the side of it that's black. Man, 719,000. That's a lot of money.
Yes. Of course.
$107,000 to Staybridge Suites. So that was a 4-week stay that they rented out. $50,000 to SSG hotels. And here's one line in this article that I thought was interesting is Carroll County Sheriff's Deputy Tobe Lesenby explained that an out-of-town YouTuber following the Allen case ended up with the hotel room on the same floor as Gull. So
the most disturbing thing I heard during the whole time, other than the barbecues and the whatever that went on with the jurors and the security guards, cops.
Right. So the judge was moved to another hotel as a precaution. So at some point, a YouTuber and the seated judge is in the same protected hotel on the same floor.
On the same floor. My question:
is that
YouTuber?
lie? Is that another
Because you
lie?
notice, I never heard a single fucking YouTuber come out and say, "Oh yeah, that was me. It was me." Oh no, that's another secret.
That's like that's just like the ones like you were saying earlier of why they don't want cameras in there. This is like an admission / lie right in front of you.
You know, there were also rumors about notes being slipped under the jurors' doors and stuff like that. That came out.
Right.
That came out.
Summary of the trial, and I bet you there was all kinds of study materials that they definitely wanted them to focus on. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it's sequestered. Like usually you would say sequestration was a good idea because, but at this point, I think there's too much tomfoolery that can go on at that point. I just, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the jurors. That's really the most concerning part of trial to me, other than the defense resting early.
It makes you wonder, because the jury pool that was there, I mean, they had I think the candidates come from Fort Wayne, which is curious because also the judge was from there. So we don't know how connected they were necessarily, but we don't know anything about them. So I don't want to say one way or the other. But
Nada. Yeah, I'd be interested in who knew who. Anybody friends with the judge? Anybody friends with the prosecutor or some of the cops? Anybody related to the cops? Who knew?
Were any of them in fan clubs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gross, but this article just shows that it breaks down the spreadsheet that has 2.5 million, and what's left off of that is the defense's salary, which was handsome. I do think that one of them was one individual attorney was over 400K. I think they had one that was around 250 and one that was around like maybe 150 or a little under 150. But and maybe they earned it, but when it came to performing, it seemed like something was up there. To stipulate and to not, just to kind of go through those motions, to not really put on the defense, that was not the right play. And my shift, I mean, I've kind of shifted after reading back to this transcript of like, why are you guys not fighting for this? Like, it's not like they even like put a pin in it. And we're going to come back to this at closing. At closing, it was more pillow fighting.
Mm-hmm. That's how it seems, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're Monday morning quarterbacking," but I don't know. I felt the same. I got to tell you, Jake, that day that they rested early, I about had an aneurysm. I mean, my head exploded. I was wanting to punch walls, and I never want to punch walls. I just thought, what in the world? You got to be kidding me. I was feeling that they were only a third of the way there with presenting a defense. So yeah, highly disappointing.
I don't think you can miscalculate that much. I think it was all part of the playbook.
Which would kind of be like a mock trial or whatever, like a wrestling match where you're pulling your punches and stuff. Yeah,
it is. I mean, it was it was like WWE, like yeah. But it's classic though. They get you arguing about a bullet in a crime that does not involve that kind of weapon, right? And they're arguing about that. They argue, we're sitting there arguing about a cell phone when the origination of that cell phone was weirdly next to the victims. Like that is not normal. That's not normal. If you're gonna go to that extent to do this gruesome of a crime, you're not leaving something that's gonna have all the secrets there. You're not.
You're not gonna leave that phone with the bodies. No.
You throw it in the river. If anything, you could even throw it in the. I mean, anything. But the fact that it was there and the fact that it was manipulated hours before, to me, is what proves he is not the person who did. I mean,
Ron Logan had fire pits. They could have put that phone in a fire pit and burned it, or anything.
No, but leaving it almost tells more of a story. Leaving it tells such a. It's almost like canary in the coal mine. It's out there to be bait, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I didn't really go hard. I don't. It's hard for me to think that. It's hard for me to think that if there's people whispering with the person that's holding the device, that there's not at least two people with the device, and then on the screen you see clearly two people on the bridge. When they played that in court, lawyer Lee said that she couldn't even tell if there was somebody behind. It was so zoomed out, far away. Now, that is nothing like what our eyes have seen and what they put out. And so I don't give much validity to that, but I do think it's done damage. I do think that's stuck in people's minds. That is what is thought of when people think of like what would have happened. That's like the great mystery. They want you to start at that point.
Yeah, that's my problem with all of this. It's like what they've laid out as the situation limits you to that, and we're sitting here like, did that even happen?
And how goofy is this? That may have been a gun, a racking, right? But then when they talk about finding the unspent cartridge, it's on the other side of the river.
Mm-hmm.
So which one is it?
He was just racking his ass off probably the whole time. I'm surprised there's not a trail of bullets leading right over to the victims.
And then you hear down the hill, and it's supposed to be from the person on the bridge. Like, what? This is all goofy.
Yeah, Heavy Metal Rehab makes a great point, because I always forget this because there's so much to remember. Yeah, that be a gun. And when we've listened to it with audiophile headphones and stuff, no, it's that. This is the trail that we go down. There's zero that be a gun on the recording. Zero.
And to do that crime and to switch the clothes, so you'd have to switch the clothes of the individuals, right? Don't know where the phone is when you don't have any clothes on, but we'll just skip past that. In the river, there's a tie-dye T-shirt. Now, if you're searching day and night and morning, no one sees a T-shirt that's on the brush of the bank. Nobody.
A
No one says that
tie-dye?
looks
It's
that
not
looks out of
camo.
place. I know.
It's not like the automobile type of camo that's all brown and
Right, or mossy
tan.
oak breakup,
Yeah. No.
a real tree.
Tie-dye.
No, tie-dye. I mean, it could have had like balloons on it and they still wouldn't have seen it.
It's literally ludicrous. Every bit of it.
But what gets me too is the sticks that were on it, and the trolling of, is it an F? No, it's an L. And you you look at that image and it's only one letter if you only had to pick one, right? It's not L either. And it's not upside
Right.
down.
And then the state comes out and says, "Oh, well, it's Libby just grabbing the tree and smearing the blood."
Yeah,
What?
4 feet up.
Is that how hands are shaped? I mean,
Come on.
perfect right angles. Every
It's
bit of it, Jake.
It's so over the top. It's so over the top. But I think you made a great point the other day when they skipped out on taking any kind of temperature. That was a key purposeful blunder there. Because if you wanted to know exactly how long they had been there, you would obviously take the temperature. Isn't it 1.5 degrees per hour? And so if that never matched up, they have real problems on their hands, right?
Well, that's why we can't get the state to give us accurate times of death, because I said that last time I did a show. Because if those girls died at different times by a wide interval, then they can't give us the real times of death or accurate or highly what's the word, a high fidelity to the time of death, because if
Right,
they
precision.
actually died at a far interval, that would reveal that the story don't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though that they actually went ahead with it. I mean, to me, if you're the prosecutor, like if you've got confessions there, they must have convinced the judge in that October meeting that, like, I think both sides had, maybe not both sides, but there was some awkward meetings that went on in the judge's chambers, where she found out that they had evidence of a confession and thought that she wouldn't have to go all the way through with it. And one of the things that I think probably when the deal got made, this is all me speculating, right? Because we're here on Twitch with our friends, is that they're saying, all right, Gold, we're going to put you on this case, but he's gonna plead guilty. You're never going to have to hold proceedings where you're going to look this bad.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, she's having to basically, join forces. Now, I'm not sure that was the case, but it sure does point to them, get basically forcing these confessions with involuntary medicine they're giving them, injections that are mind-altering drugs. Like, I've done some really stupid stuff taking Ambien, right? And that's a powerful one where you're like kind of not really there and people are telling you about conversations you had. These are mind-altering drugs that you've that are forced upon him while he's in severe depression. And then they act like those are not coerced.
Yeah. And then you remember how they exclude all the ones that don't add up to cutting the girls. So they exclude a bunch of confessions that had nothing to do with anything.
Right.
That would
then you get
prove,
master. They get master.
so I guess the way
trooper
I would say it, like the confessions he made that would clearly demonstrate that he was in a state of psychosis, they just throw all those out, which is, a large percentage. And then they just pick the little few that they can try to make fit the crime, and boom, That's your confessions.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah,
What's the
guess we
chat up
could
to
rant
tonight?
forever on
We've
just
got a good little
weird
crowd
shit.
here.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody. Slowly, people are realizing how to get over here. It's all every Thursday. I'm seeing another one or two new folks from the YouTubes.
Well, I hope that this platform grows. I mean, this is one where you don't have the all the strikes and stuff against you. I mean, and it's not like we're egging that on or anything like that. But this is a platform where we can talk.
Yeah, hey, if they delete it, they delete it. I don't care.
No, but it does seem like it's got to come from the top, and you see these tentacles and follow the money. I mean, part of the money is everybody that was working for the state is now not gonna like whistleblow about it, right? They're on, they got double paychecks for the 3 months that they're having light duty on trial. But what I think the state really should be worried about also is the violation of the human rights that they had and what they're going to have to pay for that. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. You talk about that they're look at this.
I'm showing this that they're good at giving themselves awards. This is my little phrase. We did a great job.
Why are they so happy? What is he holding?
Some award.
Oh my god!
I believe it's some award he got. Hey, I'm Jerry Holman, Cop of the Year.
And he's got a thumbs up. He's got a thumbs up there. With the Mike's got a thumbs up.
Is that a thumbs up? Oh wow! All smiles. Look at him. Everyone's happy with this. Yeah, man. I'm sorry to derail you. I just want to put that up because good at giving themselves awards and pats on the back.
CrimeCon Clue Awards. Is that the one where he said that one of the sketches was in that picture?
Oh, that was a previous year. This is recent. This is just the most recent one.
Oh wow! So this is after the trial.
This just happened. Yeah, this year.
They're still on this?
Oh yeah, buddy. You bet your sweet ass.
My goodness.
Had a big old celebration, and everybody got a pat on the back, and Holman got his award.
For what? What did he do?
Crime Fighter of the Year or something?
Honestly, what did he do? He solved nothing. For 5 years, they paid him a 6-figure salary, and they got nothing. He had the case gagged, and they had nothing. He was there supposedly the first day. He didn't have any inventory of anybody he talked to. What did he do? He did the worst job of anybody.
Shibby said that little black box is like Ghostbusters, holds all the souls until the devil claims them or the state.
You're not that far off. I don't believe.
Yeah.
I don't believe. I mean,
like I said, hope it's worth it because I can sleep at night. I don't know about you, Jake. I'm sure you can. You sound like a guy who sleeps very fucking well at night.
Well, all I can say is that time's ticking. Winter is coming. This is not going to be in the darkness forever. It can't be. It can't be. I don't think that. And this has all been a charade. I look down though, the Indiana politics and the Indiana, I guess, like way of life. If you think about it, it's a lot of clubs that you don't see anywhere else except for kind of in that little area. You have a lot of lodges. You have a men's club. You have these clubs that are kind of like the Boy Scouts that are not the Boy Scouts. They have same thing for the girls that are not Girl Scouts, right? You've got biker gangs that are prevalent. I mean, in biker gangs, they're there to do business, right? They're there to wash money. They're there to sling drugs, and they're there to
be the muscle.
Find hits,
mm-hmm.
Right? And so if you've got, one load of cargo would do them for good for a month, right? I mean, if you think about it, right? They have ways of doing that. And one of the things you mentioned was like all the airports that are always so close to these crimes or where they're moving money. I mean, where they're moving money, drugs, and maybe people.
Very close to airports every single time.
Every time it seems like they've got. And in this case, there's waterways that are connected that are pretty close too.
Well, remember, Jake. Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, but remember, I'm really into ancient history and history in general. I was a history minor. I love history, and waterways are the highways of the ancient world. Remember?
Yeah. Now that you say that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they would have like aqueducts and channels and stuff. I mean, they would. That's the only way they could move things.
That's the only way you could get around on the inland.
That's right.
Before the wheel,
Yeah, they just needed a little bit of wood, and then they would float. But some of the things that I look at, it just looks way too connected. And the platform that some of the families went on are pushing this narrative. And I brought this up before, like that 3D app. That 3D app always had the two kids together, like in frame all the time. Is that what they were trying to push with that 3D app? Is like, that there was an altercation at the
here's
bridge.
your fairy tale scenario. Yeah, the two girls were together,
and
this
there
happened.
was a boogity man at the bridge. That's it. I mean, if I'm in Indiana, I don't let 13-year-olds just kind of wander. You know how they say wander Indiana? They used to be on their license plate, wander Indiana. And it probably should say don't wander Indiana. But yeah, and the other thing is there's a big culture with clubs and different like the number of volunteer firefighters and the number of sort of groups that are around them that seem to get together quite a bit is really kind of strange. I mean, that's like its own little fraternity in itself. So you'll have people that are pooling from some of the bigger cities and smaller cities that are from around there. Tippecanoe, Lafayette, that whole little triangle there, that whole lot of people that are there to fight fires.
And a whole lot of fires.
Yes.
Inordinate amount of fires and arson fires.
Correct.
Which is not hyperbole. Like statistically, it's true.
But don't you think that they messed up in the trial by actually having 3 different versions of that video? That's like the one where we're always going to wonder, like, why is there 3 versions? I think they played original, enhanced, and zoomed. I don't know what all of them were, but they all came. A lot of them came at the front end of a break, almost like they had to get it ready. Almost like if they were going to do a sleight of hand, it was off of a break, so they had the lunch break and they had a whole hour sort of to get that ready for that. And they would only play it one time. But what scares me about all this is one of the things I think the jury asked for when they were deliberating was one of those pieces of digital evidence. And for that reason, I do think it should be public. And if they were going to play that for the jury, don't you think the defendant and his lawyers should have been in there when they're playing it for the jury a second time? Right? I mean, is that like not part of the confrontation clause of like, I can confront the people that are accusing me of these crimes? They're already not letting you bring up any of the third-party defenses, which includes people who have admitted to it and people who have they've verified, those comments. So that's scary to me. But the clubs around Indiana and the secrecy around them and the fact that some of these people are actually holding office in real positions of power it's wicked. It really is like a recipe for fear and for people um, to be sort of a catalyst for evil. And if some of these guys are dark and twisted and like young people around them, this is a cycle that we America have to break. This is not how we should be living. This is not how our society should be letting people go through. And the thing is Richard Allen was really the scapegoat here. This is the one where if you have this one guy doing the crime to both of them, then you look at, now this is the ultimate thing to put it to bed. And so
Put it
you
to
see the
rest.
effort. Yeah.
Bury it.
It doesn't have us asking about the SUVs and the boats that were there and the vans that were there and the squad cars and the vans and the people in the water. Like, we stop asking about that because we've got a conviction, right? And you would think that would be good enough, but they know it's not good enough. They know what they did. They know that's not good enough. So
Yeah, the problem with those groups, like every time someone criticizes me and they say, "You're a conspiracy theorist. Do you know what it would take to pull something like that off?" I say, "Yes, I do." It would take a few individuals in key positions of power, and then it would take a whole tight-knit group of people who can work together to achieve certain ends. And
or someone who's leveraged by money or leveraged by something, right? I mean, there's some there's some transactions that have to be going on for the motivation here. I don't think that this is not on the up and up, and you can see the level of effort and the setup that were done in years before to kind of like set the stage to kind of pin it on someone. The heat got turned up uh, right as some of the other candidates were polling nicely, and they're realizing that their platform is, hey, we're opening this thing back up. They pulled out of the
no.
stops.
Yeah, that's what I think. I keep thinking that's what the trigger point was.
It had to be.
Had to be. Because I said before, losing control of this, that would be the end of it. That would be the exposure of it. So they had to maintain control, and therefore, then you need to win the election. Then you go and you get someone and you and have a big victory and win the election, because then you're able to keep a stranglehold on it. And
Absolutely.
I'm confident that's what happened with Liggett.
One of the things that always sticks out to me, and this was yesterday I put in the chat, is on Indie News. I think it was maybe the 4th or the 5th year. It was one of the anniversaries. They do a piece on, how are you going to protect the investigation? Or, what's the update on the investigation? And then there was always this one, we're always one piece away. We keep sending your tips and all the other, basically the stuff that they've been repeating. But on his desk, he had an unspent cartridge on one side of the desk. And on the other side of the desk, he has a Payday bar and a Baby Ruth candy bar. I'm not joking. And exactly 2:13 of the film of that clip, exactly 2:13, that's when those two items appear. And you can tell from the CBS Indie News, they have the camera, placed just where you could see the sheriff and you could see these three items.
Get out of here. Payday.
A Payday
at 2:13 and a bullet.
And a Baby Ruth, right? That's Babe Ruth, like the baseball diamond. It's sick, isn't it?
They've trolled so like honestly, this is I was this close to making a real nasty post about Doug Carter today, but I controlled myself. But they've trolled us. They've trolled this case for years, and Doug Carter's like one of the primary. But they all have. And
They all
we
have.
the whole time we were kind of mystified because that's what it is. It's just
It is. But
nothing makes
was it?
sense and all the
But was the heat turned up on him on Flora? Was the community? I don't see. That's where I don't know the temperature of the local place of that time. Was this one to take away from the other one? Right? Was the heat getting up on this one, and now they have another one that's over the top? Right? I don't know. Maybe maybe you or some of the folks that are in chat can shed some light on this, because the Flora was I mean, the fact that 4 girls died in a fire, young kids died in a fire.
and you had the same firemen there that they were at Delphi.
What?
Yeah. Promise you.
That's
I don't know,
unsweet.
man.
And the Doug Carter thing goes deep though, because his behavior was a little strange around the family. I thought the way that he treated some of those family members was a little too hyper and giddy, and
Bizarre.
I mean it was more than like all shucks kind of thing. And he was on that show. He traveled with the wasn't he on the Dr. Phil as well?
Traveled with them often, yes. Mm-hmm. It's all just so fucking weird and disgusting, man.
Well, he was a little giggly. He was a little like the feeling where you're a little oversensitized, where you're like a little, there's too much input. When like I remember distinctly his behavior at like a diner, and he got Gray Hughes and all the family around, right? And he's all giggly with with one of the sister and the family. It was strange to me. It was so strange. I don't know how well they knew each other before, if they developed a relationship just because of the crime. I don't know all that backstory, but the guy filming it was definitely pushing a motive to the masses. And so if you got exposed and you just searched up Delphi, I think that there was enough algorithmic activity to push you to a narrative that Gray Hughes had.
Yeah.
So, the first word a lot of times, and sometimes you would see the details of this kind of crime and you would just run the other way. But what has stuck out to you is just that little snippet, right? Like the headlines are ruling the message. And they were good at saturating the different spots that you would go to. Well, some of the spots, right? They had Facebook, they had YouTube, and they had Reddit that were on
they were
lockdown.
absolutely it's zero doubt in my mind that they were manipulating the algorithm and search engine optimization shit. Like, you can tell.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, wouldn't it be an easy way to sort of only pay like a 20% tax if you were cleaning money that way too? If you were paying, I don't know how much YouTube takes out, but I'm saying it gives you benefits in that you're getting traction from the algorithm because you're feeding the beast, right? They make money every time someone super chats. And so,
you mean Gray Hughes, for example?
Right.
Yeah. Well, if you go look at his financials in the public disclosure YouTube analytics sites you can go to, he was raking in a amount of money that is unbelievable on this case the entire time. And YouTube takes a third, literally. So you just think of the dollars, like high dollar.
But how is that, like, I mean, knowingly being dishonest and putting that out there for people, is that not, think that's not a crime? And I guess if you have disclaimers before, but man, it feels like it should be.
I don't know. You know what I've always been disturbed by with Hughes and the amount of money going through his platform? I can't understand how the Delphi case supports that, because I'm here to tell you there's very little, like this community. I would say it's 300 people, 500 at the most are regular watchers and of the lives and stuff, which is where you have to be to give the super chats.
Right.
So how do you have 300 people? Like the odds don't. It just the math doesn't math, because there's
Correct.
not enough people in the Delphi community giving money to creators to give that amount of money to Hughes. So I've never understood where all that money's coming from.
Not
Honestly.
only that, also has the scoop on everything that you're not supposed to have or not supposed to know.
Well,
Right?
because you're getting it from straight from the source.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he's working hand in hand probably with the state and with maybe some of the folks that were in the case that were visiting Richard Allen, like the doctor that had to drive 2 hours every day from Indianapolis, right?
Oh, you mean the Walla?
Yep.
It sure does
But if
seem
he's
like
in
it.
contact with them, and because one of the things that he brought up was not only like the whole entire narrative, but the van, or the whole controversy around the van was his source, right? Because somehow he knew Kay Weber and on a first name basis. Somehow somebody knew, well, he was saying Kay all the time, and maybe his son was, and he's got that bombshell. Like all of these, where they're like, what everybody's going to go with, what the common narrative is. He's the one that's bringing it to the people, and
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and his thing is what McClellan ran with, like
everything.
literally identically.
But
It had already been because he had fleshed it all out for years, like all the timelines, all the distances, all the scenarios, all of the angles. It was already worked out, so they didn't even need to do much, but just find the patsy.
correct. But that's maybe what was going on that day, is to find possible patsies, right? You would have a couple of them that were in either the area. You'd have some, you'd have some goons that you could always turn it on. You'd have random people that were chasing the geocache. You'd have a melting pot of random
Patsies to
folk.
choose
right.
from. Right, yeah.
And
So Richard, yeah, I get what you're saying. And Richard Allen fit it the best, especially once they figured out he had a 40 caliber SIG. And I think the way that happened is they went around and unethically, they went to the FFLs, is what I think. And they found the purchase. I'm believing they found the purchase of his gun somewhere at one of the local FFLs, and bam, they said, "Oh, yep, he'll work."
you could be right on that, but I have a hard time believing that it was actually there that day at the scene.
Oh, I'm not saying it was. No.
Because if it was at the scene, I haven't seen anything that has evidence markers that has, with date timestamps and metadata they put out that shows that object was near anything that went down that day in the middle of the woods. Could have came from anywhere.
Let's be real here. It's not his bullet. It's not his bullet. It's not. There's absolutely zero chance that's his bullet. And I also think the one in the Hope chest, I think that's a planted bullet.
Yes. He's only had one of them. Why?
Yeah,
Okay.
why would you do that?
You would have 5 other ones in the mag also. And I don't have any one single type of one bullet. Like, usually they're
It's
in a
ridiculous.
box. They're in
Yeah.
a box. They're in like a little tray. And like, you wouldn't.
Well,
you
a
don't
bullet,
have just one of them.
I speculated before how I made an extreme example. I was like, it's pretty hard to plant a laptop or an iMac or a fucking air conditioner, but it's very easy to plant a bullet. You can slip it in the folds of your fingers where no one knows you're doing it, and you're rummaging through it and just boom, drop it.
And
Wouldn't be hard to plant.
Jerry
a bullet.
Holman had him in the cop car the whole time, the whole 8 hours when they're trash in his house and magically finding this one. Why would he even keep that? He
It
didn't
doesn't
use
make
it.
sense.
He didn't use it at the crime.
Well, they're going to say trophy. It's a trophy. But why would
But
that
it
be a
wasn't in the crime. Like there wasn't pow-powing going on.
You'd keep the girl's clothing. I mean, anyone who's that type of sexual predator, they're going to keep a piece of the girl's clothing or something. None of it it's just so far how people are willing to suspend their disbelief to go along with this. That's why I've never understood the troll farm or the guilters. It's like, how can you just agree to all this?
Right.
Yeah,
there's other cases.
I like heavy metal's term. She says it's mental gymnastics. Exactly. Perfect term.
Yeah. But why would the family be so involved in creating the narrative though? You usually don't see the family really pushing that. Like, I can understand if the cops were pushing it and they were looking, but it just doesn't make sense to me that the family. And what happened with I mean, did the family not say they have our girls that night? They have them.
They have our girls.
Who's they?
The kidnappers. Yeah.
How did they know? I don't know.
Good point. How did they know? They have our girls.
Yeah, that'll never sit right with me. But if you do some research on sort of the political power in place at times, I mean, the governor that was there over most of this time was the lieutenant governor, right? And then Pence took himself off the ticket and was the vice president, and then his number 2 became the governor of the state. So, from what I understand, there's some Supreme Court justices that were appointed by Trump, Pence, and also the head of the state police was a Pence guy.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if they needed top brass to be able to do what they needed to do, I mean, I could see where they have the muscle.
Well, it seems like it just, I mean, what you're saying essentially is it goes to the top, at least in Indiana, it goes all the way to the top of Indiana. These relationships, these connections.
But you would need this kind of muscle to do what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
The only this is a pie in the sky, but the only thing that I would ever the only thing that I think these folks may have in justification of their mind, because I don't think that they could think that he did it. I don't think that. I think they're acting, and they've got motive to think that Richard Allen did it. But sometimes in these big, high-profile cases, the state will try to push and infringe on the public's rights, right? Can we actually get away with throwing somebody in prison before we convict them? Can we get away with putting involuntary drugs in if we need to? Can we get away with sequestering, like almost it's almost like they're kind of putting like the feelers out on each one of these to see. And what they found out is that they can basically, if they make it secret enough, they can basically fudge all the digital evidence.
Everything, yeah.
Everything.
And they can bring in coerced confessions to use against you. Honestly, the two things that bothers me the most with Richard Allen's trial is the confinement situation as a detainee, and then the using the results of those coerced confessions against him. It just seems like, what kind of precedent is that set? How is that allowed? Like, are we in the dark ages?
Right. And you see in the Koberger one where they had this gene sequencing for DNA that kind of gets spliced, right? And so, like, I think that was going to be a breakthrough on, we can get basically touch DNA, and we can sort of take one little splice of it, and we can sort of fudge the rest of it, and then we can get matches to a generation or two before you. Like, to some of that was like, I think sometimes that some of these high profile cases have a tread of, can we get away with this in what they're trying here? And I do think that it is a test of our rights right now. Can they? I mean, they did get away with it. They are getting away with it.
So you're saying, like, it's almost like they're using these high profile cases in a way to push boundaries or to test what will be
Prosecution
accepted.
strategy.
It's almost like a psyop in a way. It's like, how far can we push this? What can we get away with?
Can we actually expunge all of the even though we know there's timing in advance records for every single cell phone carriers that they have for eternity? Okay, if you don't believe me, it can be brought back. They have timing in advance records, and they can hold a case where they don't give that to the defense. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and people say geofan. No, there's timing in advance. Like, you did a whole show on the proximity of it, and for Gold to play dumb on this and not allow it, like, oh, it's not that accurate. Okay, that it could be not all that accurate for that one specific one that you're talking about, but it could also have exculpatory people that were heavily involved in this that you don't want to get out, which I think is far more likely, because I don't think his devices were there. And what Holman said is, oh yeah, we looked at it, and it looked like he was back at his house. Okay, well, then you're not proving anything then. But it was over the top from the very beginning. Like, one of the huge problems that I saw with this right away was that they zeroed in by the 22nd. So the crime happened 12th. By the 22nd, they had a press conference, and were sure that this one grainy figure was the one who was involved in the crime. How did they zero in that quickly?
The killer is the way they were. Yeah. How? How were they sure then, but they couldn't prove it with Richard Allen?
Yeah, it's amazing.
8 years later. Yeah.
And so you also, I do think that there's some don't believe your lying eyes where they want to put stuff in front of you and see, like, what are the methods and levers of social media? What is it that you have to put out there to be able to get away with some of this stuff? And I do think that's closely studied in this, because the PR on this was not like anything else. Like, the OJ one was in your face because it was on the front of every newspaper, and it was on every nightly news, and it was like really like the first court live stream that people wanted to engage with every day. Like, it was like must-see TV when Mark Furman's up there. I mean, there were a couple of those witnesses that were actually, that were getting grilled on the stand. But I go back and look through some stuff that's from that day, and I see a lot of activity right around where they were found, and I don't believe it. I don't believe what they say. I don't believe it. They weren't there.
I said that Tuesday that there were literally dozens of people. That place was crawling with people from before, during, and after.
That's right.
I mean, it's just mind-boggling. Christina said the OJ case had PR, the Michael Ferguson case, BK case did too.
Brian Comer, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what else? Who was a guy? Oh, I can't remember the name now. There was a guy they killed, some cops killed recently, and they all covered that shit up, and they had a lot of PR with it.
What, Karen Reed?
No. I'll remember. If I try too hard, I won't.
Yeah. But it's starting to be a thing though, and like when you open the show, you wrote I mean, you read out that letter of basically the gaslight letter of why they don't want cameras. And Judge Gold was one of the proponents for transparency. You know, we got to have transparency. Let's have this whole pilot program years before. And they set up that courtroom just so that it would have, be leading edge of it, only to have them completely off, collecting dust and cheating a man out of a fair trial, a taxpayer.
It's absolutely preposterous. Like, you had the cameras. They almost tried to make it seem like you'd have 5 camera crews in the courtroom taking up space, causing all kind of distractions and chaos, filming people they shouldn't. That's not how it works. You have a media feed camera that's already set up, which the judge can control where it's directed, what it's sending out. There could be a time delay on it that someone's watching, so that if anything happens, it's got a 2-minute delay or so where they can go and, redact someone's face passing by if someone accidentally crosses in front of it. There's zero excuses. But he just gave us, what is it, 22?
Yeah, all the reasons why. But I mean, what it would have shown was his lack of experience, right? He had never been on a case this big. He was strategically picked to be there. And it's interesting that the mayor switched teams from being the mayor to now being on the defense.
You don't think? Or you mean to being sitting in the prosecutor's office doing all the grunt work? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's who steps. I mean, dude, that was a huge red flag there. He stepped down from mayor to go in and support McClellan in a prosecutor's office when he was alleged to have been questionable at that time. There were a lot of rumors circulating regarding that guy too.
And looked a little nervous at the press conferences too. He was one of the ones that had his eyes moving and was
sweating bullets. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I'm gonna get off here. It's getting late here, but let me ask you this. When Doug Carter said they might be in this room, do you think anybody in the room had something to do with it?
I don't know. Was that all a psyop? Was it all like a
I don't know why you would say that.
Why would you say that?
Why would that pop into your mind? They may even be in this room. It's like, well, what are you doing to check about it? I mean, why would he think that?
Why would you say that and not have the guy subpoenaed or whatever, or detain him and question him?
So the other burning question is did any of the people that are now clearly like kind of stroking the narrative, did they ever flip? Did money get to them and along the way, right? And I hope this never happens to you. Don't ever take the paycheck where someone's going to come to you and say, all right, I'm going to give you 75 grand, but here's what's going to have to happen. Right. And to some people that, there is a price for folks that are like that. And who knows what's promised to them? They could say, well, in 3 years, we're going to get you a job here, or you're going to be an investigator here, or, we'll promise. There could be promises made. There could be contracts that are involved, but it is very much a PR kind of approach where the messaging is very tight, right? You can let some stuff in, you won't let other stuff in. It's very narrowly focused, but a lot of them are like method acting, I think. I mean, even some of the cops.
And keep in mind, Jake, like one of my theories that I'm currently working with as a baseline is I think we're dealing with a bunch of integrated separate social groups. So these are like social clubs, whether you got the Rotary Club, some church clubs, some motorcycle clubs, some Freemason clubs, some sex clubs, some
firefighters, some cops.
firefighters, even fucking golf clubs. You don't know. It's just like I'm thinking we got some contingents of individuals who are tight knit, and then they're all networking together to get this done because it benefits everyone. And that makes me want to touch on something before you go, because you were talking about the money. And honestly, Jake, every time I look back into this past 7, 8 years of this case, the amount of focusing on money, all of these integral individuals tied into this case in that community have done is astounding. Whether it's the ballpark, the nonprofits, the trail system,
LLCs set
the
up.
LLCs, the churches, all of these various organizations, the bike rides, just money, 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 money.
But that is part of that culture there. And just reading back through the newspaper and through in that, it's always a bake sale. It's always raising money for something there. It's a part of that culture. It's strange there. I don't know what it is, but it's always like I saw one today that was for, it was years ago, but it was for orphans that have Ebola that they're raising money for in this little town in Indiana. In Africa, supposedly, they're going to be sending this money. I'm not joking you. I should have. I'm legally blind. I wish I could make this up.
It sounds made up. It sounds like you're trying to come up with a good one.
No, I read it and I was like, "What are they talking about here? Like, come on!" And there's a good amount of trolling too that's going on in the media too, like the 213 with the payday and the like. They live for this. There's somebody that's behind all this that is living for these kind of lulls.
Jeez, man.
It's too lined up. It's too trolly. Like they get such a kick out of it being in plain sight. Like they're like the dates, the line, how many times even some of the court dates, even when, I mean, I could go on and on of these things and you would think I'm some kind of,
take this. You know that the BG video that I've been yelling about for 6 months, that was released on 3/12/3/12, which is the same day the appeal posted to my case.
Correct.
3/12.
Exactly. I mean, and 213, they go like there's all, I'm telling you, there's 75 of these that you can see, and like it's not funny. Like I don't understand it, but I see it. But the only reason that could be is someone's meticulously planning for it. There's so many other little I'm telling you, there dozens of them, exact same days, exact same things that are published that are weird, quotes that are in, that could have double meanings on those exact days. Like,
yeah, even the victims' names, like I've said that before, like if you look into the victims' names, it's very disturbing. Abigail Williams was the primary accuser in the Salem witch trials.
Right.
And Liberty German, you flip it, it's German Liberty, and you're dealing with a community rich in German heritage.
Correct. And there's stuff online that people, yep.
They called that area holy ground, that Deer Creek Valley right there. That was supposed to be sacred ground. It's like, what's going on with the trolling, man?
It's the armpit of America right now. And I think the feds need to come clean this up, because this is such a big mess, and this is controlled opposition, and the fact that it runs so deep from the highest of political people that are really on the outs. If you think about it, that governor's not there, the vice president's not there anymore. Time is ticking for these people.
Doug Carter ain't there.
Doug Carter's
they're
not there.
all getting flushed out. I agree with you, Jake.
Gallipo's
I've been
not there.
saying,
I mean,
where are the feds? Like, it is time. Even if what we see, we could be 80%, 85% wrong about. You still got that other 35% that is extremely concerning.
That's right. And you saw how they treated the honest cops. I mean, you saw how they. The worst thing that Ferenczi had was a Notre Dame hat on. They hate that. They can't stand that. They don't like having. They didn't like that. They didn't like what he put in his report that never got released. And Click, same way. I mean, he had conviction that this was not right. He had conviction. He knew what they were doing was wrong and had a problem with it and tried to come forward. And so if I'm the Fed, we need good cops, right? This is encouraging cops to toe the line when you're doing this kind of thing. You're
good cops are the backbone of America. We need them.
And what they've done to our civil liberties here, and to Richard Allen, and to these two victims that they have no care about, right? They were just so happy that they won something, because they have been losers for 7 years before then. And I think that some of them think that after the 7th year that those bits just never go, that they just turn to all zeros. They don't turn to zeros. The communications they've been having, they're not zero. They're so I don't think that they're living comfortable. I don't think that they're comfortable tonight. I don't think that the continued effort after you have a conviction, that tells you a lot, right? This is media. This is PR. Look at these goofs.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that post sentence. I've said it before. You might have seen that show. You probably did. But when I went through that post sentencing press conference in disbelief at the way they are acting is so unhinged.
They had Doug Carter say that if you don't like it, go somewhere else. What if I don't want to go somewhere else? What if I just want you to do your job?
What kind of cops get up there, Jake, and feel that they have to say, we are not liars? When have you ever heard a group of cops stand up and say, we are not liars?
So bizarre. Jerry Holman's not a liar. Okay. Just because you said so. And he was the highest, if you think about it, with him and Doug, he was the lead honcho of all investigations out of Lafayette. So one of the first lies that I thought he told was when he got there. He says he got there in the morning because he heard it on the radio. Now, there was nightly news that was on out of Indy, and there was nightly, and the story broke in the evening on the 12th. That's when the story broke. By 11 o'clock news, they had people with helmets and red suits on walking across the background. If you remember the Eric Williams interview, right? So how is the head of all investigations of that region? How does he not know anything about it? And he has to has to hear it on the radio the next day. That's not. I don't believe that. And so it calls into question. Okay, well, when were you? If it wasn't in that morning, was it that night? Was it the night before? If you're looking for somebody, why wouldn't you want help from dogs? Those dogs can smell miles away. They have dogs that are search and rescue that you could smell like a blanket from them, and those things are pulling because they know exactly where they can pick up on it. I'm telling you, it's amazing what dogs can do. No, we don't want any dogs tonight. The fact that at 2:30 in the morning there was screams that were heard and the police didn't respond.
They wouldn't respond,
and not only would they not respond, they won't release a 911 call that person placed. What does that make you sound like? That sounds a lot like the Florida fire, doesn't it? Where you've never heard the 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
What is it in those calls that is so incriminating? That is such a separation from what you've sworn to everybody, that you are going to uphold the Constitution and that the law of the land, that you're going to be a law enforcement. You're sworn in, and you've diverted so far to that to where you can't even hear you can't let the public know about it. And them whining that it's an active investigation, they use that active investigation even in the like the first day of the trial. The investigation's still ongoing. What are they talking about? What were they doing? How active was it? It's just a good excuse for them.
It's an excuse for bullshit.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a mirage, though. You have to pick it. It's like you have to sort of put it through this sort of filter that we've now built up of like, why should we believe you and how can we prove it, sort of thing, from anything these people are doing. And if there's anything that's going to solve this case, it is, like you say, going to be a political win for somebody, where we've had enough. I mean,
this could be huge for whoever has the gonads to go in there and ruffle some feathers.
And that's what they should be scared
like
of.
You say, Jake, so either children are disposable and we're going to be okay with that, or we're going to fight this kind of shit and make it right, and then you become heroes, and then the community can look at you and say, you know what, this is the type of law enforcement that deserves to exist.
Absolutely. Instead of having a unified command that is actively putting down any leads. And one of the things that I think is certainly the T word with terror that they did to that community was probably a lot of the blackmail that they had from people calling in on the other person, right? Think of how these wicked folks could take one person's tip. They know that person now ratted on this other person, whether it's true or not. Then you can go to the other person and start to say, hey, I've heard some things about this. Oh, you want to know who it is? All right, well, then you're going to have to...
Well, that's something I've speculated before, that they were using unified command and intaking all of this shit to know what fires they had to go put out. It's like, oh, you know this? Okay, well, okay. And then they'll figure out, oh, we got to put that one out. We got to put that one out.
Correct. Anything that got close to the truth, they were aggressive. I mean, even if you were local and you started to question it, action started happening against you, right? So if it was real bad, like some of the state employees, like Ferenczi and Stephanie Thompson, you saw what happened to them. But the amount of harassment, and I mean, they can get you on, if you know something and you're on probation, they'll just stop by and pick you up for whatever reason they want. This was a buried job, Shibby. You're right.
Well, I mean, the thing that's great, Jake, and I know it's a tough thing to do, but I've been encouraging the community, is that there's nothing wrong with us discussing it, having this conversation with freedom of speech as two human beings expressing our concerns. And I think everyone should do that, because the worst thing we could do is stop talking about it, which is what they want. That's why all the harassment, threats, intimidation, the strikes on the channels, and it's all to shut people up. But what harm is there in discussing? And so I think there needs to be more. And I truly do appreciate you coming to speak with me, because I know a lot of people, they're hesitant because of the fear, but I think we all need to be talking more.
Well, winter is coming. So for these folks that are the axis of evil, I think they're playing a short game, and I think their time is coming. If I still choose to believe that, and so I do have faith still that something is going to come of this, and hopefully it's not too far away. Like if a RICO came, these people are going to be talking about how they were involved, right? And to me, this looks like a criminalized organization if I've ever seen one.
I mean, it does blatantly on the surface. I said that last Tuesday too. I said it's like it's been done all out in the open for everyone to see.
It makes you wonder about all the coincidences and all the connected people. And I do think there's some secret society stuff that's involved here. And that is scary too. Those people are not powerful. And those people are one thing that those secret groups, they can keep a secret. They can also organize quickly. They can, I don't want to give up too much, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal to have 12 different people saying the same thing 12 different ways and look like they were from a random sample of the population, right? Like you could have everybody show up at 9:00 at this, and we don't talk to each other, but we're all going to kind of like echo the same thing, and it's done. Like you're part of it's part of what your order is, and that kind of thing can organize quickly. You can quickly put out fires. It's very good for intimidation. But each one of these people are spineless in and of themselves. We're out here talking about it, they need that group to feel part of this world. We don't. So when it crosses over into government officials and the safety of society, and specifically teenagers in Indiana, every 3 months or so, I'll look up the missing person, and it'll have their name, what police department called it in, their date of birth, and the date they were missing. And if you see from the time the trial started till now, and I've pulled this at a couple dozen times, and they publish it I think once a month. It is hundreds of teenagers, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them in like the Indiana, the Fort Wayne, the Lafayette, there are Gary, Indiana, South Bend. I don't know how you would ever raise a family there. I don't. I would be livid with the elected officials there for their participation in this, because this is off the charts alarming. And the fact that Kokomo, yeah. And make no mistake, as you bring that part of it up, make no mistake, there are secret societies that have been going on in the United States for as long as time. So, and I mean, it started in the South when they went in Reconstruction after the Civil War, the Ku Klux Klan and the terror. There's lots of groups here that have some bad dudes in it. I mean, they have the goons, they have the enforcers, they have the folks that, that's their way of life. So, good talk, Prof. I just jumped on to say, hey, I didn't even have anything prepared either when I got the message. So, we just freelanced it.
Oh yeah, well, that's what this is all about. But like I said, we could talk for hours. I mean, every single time, because it's just this is highly concerning. And I know, like I said, I can sleep at night because I feel like I'm trying my best to do what I can for this, and I know you are as well. And that's all we can all each do, do what we can all do in our own way. And my advice to the community has always been everyone should do what they do best. Not everybody is a good podcaster. Not everybody's a good ascent researcher. Not everyone's a good conspiracy theorist, a good writer. So whatever you're good at, do it. You know, if you're good in the chat and that's what you want to do, well, then do that. There's some diplomats. There's all sorts, but
I agree, and it's a great community. And I don't think that if you weren't continuing that message, I don't think that I would be talking to about this. So I mean, it's you've kind of championed this in that fact. I'm definitely not the entertainer. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you. So you're the one with the talent here. So
great, but you always got good food for thought, and I know everyone loves it. And hey, hopefully I'll see you pretty soon on YouTube. I'll go back to YouTube tomorrow and the next several days. And thanks for coming.
You got it. Good talking to you, Prof.
Man.
And good night, everybody in the chat.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Everybody, please say goodbye to Jake on the way out, and also say goodbye to me, because I think I'm done. I'm absolutely exhausted. That was a really good talk. Thanks again, Jake, for coming. And Shibby, special thanks for modding, and everyone else here. All you guys who joined the chat. If you're on a replay, thanks for watching the replay. Remember, please support the channel in the terms of I'm trying to do a little Cash App fundraiser type of thing. So any of you guys spread that word. That would help me out. And tomorrow we'll be doing something. Usually I like Fridays a little less serious, more fun. But I think tomorrow will be pretty serious based on what I want to do. But I'll see you all tomorrow night. And good night, everyone. And so let me just say everyone on out, okay? Because I just like to do that. Let's say I want to say bye to Hebby. I'm so happy she's doing better. Hey, Hebby, thanks for being here. Heavy Metal Rehab, thanks for being here. Christina, thank you very, very much, Christina. Gora Me Dog, I still forget who you are, okay? S Maltas 88, thank you very much. Nicole Watt, thanks for being here. Miss Pie Crust, hey, thanks for being here. I know some others are here, but I don't see him. Snoop, thanks for being here. And hey, I'll just do a catch-all. Everyone, thanks for being here, everyone. Oh, Lita Joe, is that Lisa? Lisa's here. Okay, so everyone who's here, thank you very much. Appreciate you for being here. I must look extremely tired because I feel extremely tired. Oh, Carol's here? Okay. Carol, Lisa. All you guys trying to hide out in disguise. Thanks for being here. And hey, God bless Libby and Abby. All right. I'll see you guys another time. God bless Libby and Abby. God bless all of you. God bless the United States of America. And we'll see you again, okay? Hug your kids, hug your wife. I'm out of here.
Well, obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here. Well,
it was our job to help law enforcement.
Prof is a fucking terrorist. A fucking pedophile, sympathizing fucking terrorist.
Bruh.
our job to help law enforcement. It was our job to help law enforcement. It was our job to help law enforcement.
Bruh.
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Oh my God!
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Oh my God!
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
Bruh.
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Oh my God!
As an expert at being Mickey Mouse, yeah, I can say seriously, yeah. Yeah, you're right, Rick. This is some Mickey Mouse bullshit. Thanks, Mickey. Hey, how's Donald? He's still on the stuff. Yeah,